I mean, when it comes down to nut cutting time, I would rather be known as an, air quotes, establishment Democrat than a anything Republican. Rather be member of the deep state than a freaking swamp monster. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on Least Coast Radio. The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are that of my own and are not of my employer.
Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. But that's okay, because I don't like y'all anyway. And I don't like y'all anyway.
We have until November of 2020 to get our act together as a country, as a nation, to correct this injustice. And the biggest injustice in the world was allowing a foreign power to install a criminal into the White House and turn an administration into a fascist crime syndicate. That must be corrected. And we only have there's only one more election we have to correct it, or this whole thing is over.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
I never met any of the founding fathers, but I'm sure if they were listening to Least Coast Radio right now and brand new episodes of Dyze in your house, they would agree with the sentiment. And you can follow us on Twitter at Least Coast Radio. Get us on Patreon at Least Coast Radio. Vote. Blue Wave 2020. Let's make it happen. Least Coast Radio for the least heard voices. Every weekend. We here on Least Coast Radio are trying to fight the rising tide of fascism.
The noun fascism is usually defined as a governmental system led by a dictator having complete power, forcibly suppressing opposition and criticism, regimenting all industry, commerce, etc., and emphasizing an aggressive nationalism and often racism.
Yeah, we don't want any of that in America. So we gotta stop it. We gotta put out the fire now.
Staten Island was no joke.
As liberals, not even as liberals, as Americans, as patriots, as people that like democracy. The only thing we can do right now to fix our country is use our weapons. And our weapons are our voices, our handmade signs, and social media. Get the message out there. Voting. Voting is key. Elections have consequences.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Representing Staten Island. Staten Island was no joke.
Hey, yo. Who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? It is the weekend, the final weekend in June. We are back here on Least Coast Radio with another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house. Least Coast Radio is a podcast channel that we use as a vehicle to help people understand the importance of voting. In America, we have a voting problem. We have a problem with people not participating in democracy, and it doesn't cost any money to vote, so you should just go vote. You should vote for the people you want to see elected, because if you vote and you participate in democracy, that's how this country works. That's how we escape the throngs of fascism. Nobody wants to live in a fascist society. Hey Google, what is fascism?
According to Wikipedia, fascism is a form of radical right-wing, authoritarian ultranationalism characterized by dictatorial power, forcible suppression of opposition and strong regimentation of society and of the economy, which came to prominence in early 20th century Europe.
Yeah. We don't want any of that here in America. We have a thing called democracy, we have capitalism, we have freedom. We want to keep those freedoms. And the fascist crime syndicate that inhabits 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue right now that's a fascist crime syndicate. And they need to be removed. And right now, it seems like the only way we're going to remove these people is by voting. And listen, we can talk all day, and I'm going to get into the debates in a second. At the end of the day, we need to overwhelm the vote. At the end of the day, we need to exhaust the vote. You want to know why? Because this fascist crime syndicate that had a hostile foreign power get them into power, this fascist crime syndicate solicited help from a hostile foreign power to help, air quotes, win an election. Now, the other day, they're in Japan, and this clown is like, hey, Putin, don't meddle. Like, totally sarcastic and, like, basically saying, please, meddle. As if to say, well, you know, I'm not in jail, so we're gonna do this again. And we can't, as a nation, see that and say, oh, that's just, you know, that's just the way he is. We shouldn't be so hung up on that. That's just how he is. No, that's not how it's supposed to be. And everybody that wants to say that, oh, you know, money and, like, they say all politicians are crooked. So do some research and vote. I was on the phone with my friend Chach yesterday. And Chach doesn't care. It's not like he's like, oh, don't tell anybody. No, I'm on the phone with my friend Chach yesterday, and I told him, I said, listen, anybody with a penis who's running for president right now should be out. And he immediately was like, oh, what do you want, Hillary Clinton? So, people who support this fascist crime syndicate are so out of touch with reality that they still mention Hillary Clinton, that they still think Hillary Clinton is a thing. I got news for you. Hillary Clinton is not a thing. I wish she was a thing. But she's not. So anybody that mentions it, anybody that mentions Hillary Clinton is out of arguments as to defending Trump. That's facts. So like you got people, and listen, man, it's a sign. It's people saying, "Oh, the tariffs. That's good for us because you know we gotta make this stuff in our country." Dude, what don't people understand about you know what? A lot of people are going around saying we have a good economy and the economy's doing good without actually understanding the economy. Okay? America is not a manufacturing economy. America is a consumption economy. We buy things. We don't do a lot of the selling. We do a lot of the buying. This, you know, has been going on for the last couple of years. Last 40 years. Like, it's more expensive to make things in America. And with the lack of education that Americans have growing up, they go into these factory jobs and they suck at it anyway. Speaking of jobs, just gonna chime in right here and just remind everyone that the views and opinions expressed on my podcast are that on my own, and they are not of that of my employer. Okay, just want to get that out of the way. My employer has nothing to do with these thoughts. These thoughts belong to me, J. Porks. So just continuing on with that. We don't, like, America is not the place where we have, like, heavy, we don't do it here. And it's not, like, Democrats didn't do that. Like, it's not like, oh, Democrats, they took our job. And here's another thing, before I get into talking about the debates. Well, I'm still talking about the debates, but the first night, Drudge Report had a freaking poll that said Tulsi Gabbard won the debate. Well, that's good because nobody that wins a debate ever wins an election. This is something Lawrence O'Donnell said last night. He said never happens. Ask John Kerry. You know, ask Hillary Clinton. Like, you do not. If you winning the debate doesn't necessarily mean you win the election. But I have a few takeaways from the debates that I do want to talk about. And I'm not going to do, first of all, what you need to do is if you're somebody that missed the debates, but you don't want to watch like 4 hours of coverage, here's what you do. You go to Friday's episode of the Rachel Maddow Show, where she spent everything after the A block. She had a hat, and she was pulling out names, and she had every candidate had a moment that they can build on. And she played the clips of every candidate's like moment that they could be able to build on. Because nobody in the debates made themselves worse, I don't think. But, I mean, made themselves worse. We'll get into Kamala Harris busting Joe Biden back to 4th place in the polls a little later on. But I'll go in order. So, like, we can't have... Like, me personally, in 2016, I wasn't watching the... Well, I worked at a restaurant where customers were conservative. So, if the debates were on, the Republican debates, like, may have caught it in the side, in, like, my side eye or whatever, but, like, I wouldn't go out of my way to watch the Republican debates. I'm not a Republican. I'm not going to vote for Republicans. That's never, ever, ever going to be a thing. Never in my life. Never in my life is that going to be a thing. So I have no reason to watch the Republican debates. Same thing with the Democratic debates. Why are conservatives, why are they watching this? And when I say conservatives, I also mean libertarians. And I will tell you why. And you can at me on this all you want. And I know that this might get Kennedy to stop following me on Twitter, and she's my most famous follow. But it's okay. I'm allowed to have an opinion. My opinion is this. Libertarians are Republicans. And here's why. Because libertarians don't help Democrats get elected. And anybody that's not helping Democrats get elected, I'm considering Republicans. You want to know why? I'll tell you why. Because there's 2 parties in America. There's 2 parties. There's Democrat and Republican. And I want to change it just as much as the next guy. But if we want to change it, we take steps towards changing it. We don't just leap across the fucking schoolyard to change it. That can't happen. When you play hopscotch, you jump all the boxes. You know? You don't say, oh, I'm going to see how far I can get on this one jump. No, you don't do that. That's a problem with Bernie-crats. Burnouts is what I call them. It's my new name. Gotta follow Sally Albright on Twitter. She's the best. But, alright. So I don't want to do what everyone did. I don't want to do what late night news did. I don't want to do what cable news did. I just want to talk about shit that, like, popped me. I'm sorry for, I'm foul languaging it today. But... So I believe this is going to be pretty long. It might be longer than most of my stuff. I don't know. But for Republicans to watch Democratic debates for people they're not going to vote for, and then say things like, all the Democrats talked about was free stuff, free stuff, free stuff, and raising taxes, raising taxes, raising taxes. Do they talk about anything else? Well, here's the thing. Free stuff. So, like, if you raise taxes, if you raise some taxes, and people are able, with those taxes, to have stuff, that's not free. You paid for that with taxes. And again, I understand that education is not big in this country. That's why we need to elect Democrats. Because we need serious investments in education. Because and maybe that's why we don't have manufacturing jobs. You know? Maybe we were a little smarter. But you know what we do have? Like, in Middle America, where we're losing factory jobs in Middle America, and factory jobs and farmers are on welfare because, you know, tariffs. You know what would be good for those places? Because those places have wide open areas. They're not on the coast. Wind farms, solar panel, endless fields of solar panels, renewable energy. What about stuff like that? You got the space. And everybody who's like in a job that is not good for the environment, you can just open up a good environmental thing and give those people first crack at the jobs, and nobody loses the job. Whatever. You know the vibes, right? I'm not up to Marianne Williamson yet, but wow. Alright, so night one, I'm watching it. And here's, night one, my thing is this. I'm here for Warren, because I want to see Elizabeth Warren, because she's got a plan. And I believe that Elizabeth Warren was just folksy enough where it came off good. Like, when she's mad, she can get, like, serious, because, you know, she's a teacher. But, like, the way she'll tell you everything about her plan, she has a plan for everything. And I just appreciate her having plans. And on the debate stage, night one, nobody was taking shots at anybody. They were basically singing Kumbaya. So Elizabeth Warren got to show her plans. She got to explain them. She was in the middle. She was in prime time. And she did not make herself look bad at all. That first night was the Tulsi Gabbard night. And I'm going to get heat for this. I'm going to say it. I'm sorry. I'm not your normal guy. I'm not a guy that, you know, adheres to social standards very well. So I'm just going to get this out there. Every candidates who have served in the military should not be allowed to say that as your first sentence out of your mouth. Well, as somebody that served in Afghanistan, we get it. We know. Like, Tulsi Gabbard made it onto the debate stage. Therefore, people donated money to her. Therefore, people know who she is. They know you served in the military. We don't need you to repeat it over and over again. That's like, I'm in a job interview the other day. My job, I had an interview again. It's a long story, but I really had to jump through hoops to try to get this gig. And I'm in the interview, it's like 7 of us. Like, it's a group interview. Fun fact about everybody. And one of these kids is like, I got shot in war. Damn, yo. I guess I'm not getting your spot. I guess you got the most interesting... And I told the kid this after this, so it's not like I'm talking smack behind his back. He's cool. But, like, I was like, yo, man, you just have that in your back pocket to pull out. But, like, yeah, man, I'm so sick of politicians who have served saying that they've served. We know! We are well aware. Because every time you pass by, we have to salute you and thank you and stuff like that. I'm sorry. And, like, everyone's like, oh, well, you know, she said she wants to put an end to all wars. You don't like that, Jay? I don't like that she supports Assad. I don't like that she's, you know, an active measure. She's placed there to Jill Stein this. That's what she's there for. She's there to run third party. And that's what she's going to do. She's going to claim that the DNC screwed her, yada, yada, yada. And she's going to run third party and screw this up for us again. I can't have it. Night one, Cory Booker looked good too. Cory Booker, besides Castro, had the best Spanish on stage. Oh, Beto's on night one too. I didn't write down Beto. So let's talk about Beto for a second. I like Beto a lot. And he didn't, like, you know, say anything that buried him. I just think that he needs to take a nap. He looks like he's been to every county in Texas. Oh, wait, he has. Like, this guy's been running already. He ran that Senate race against Ted Cruz. He went to every county in Texas. He took like a month or 2 off. And now he's back. And, yo, he looks like he hasn't slept in so long. And I feel like that people wanted to go after him. And Castro was, surprisingly, Castro came out and he had some nice things to say. Castro had more flavor than he usually has. Usually he just seems like a very, like, even keeled. I don't want to. I'm saying exactly what Rachel Maddow said. He usually seems like a guy that doesn't, whose sentences don't pop. You know what I'm saying? But after night one, I was saying to myself, yo, Castro? He's got it. Like, I can vote for him. Like, I wouldn't be mad about it at all. And, like, him and Beto went at it for the... There's a certain law at the border. Like, a certain subsection. And Castro knows, like, everything about it. So that was... Surprised they didn't argue in Spanish to each other. But, And Booker, you know, listen. Booker can talk. He got the most words in. And Booker knows how to articulate a thought. And if the things he says are things that are actually to come to fruition, I like him too. And let me just say one more thing about night one. Bill de Blasio. Okay? Now, people were saying, oh, he was brash New Yorker interrupting people. I actually, every time he interrupted, I liked it. Like, I thought that Bill de Blasio, I know, like, we have enough obnoxious New Yorkers in Congress, but in, Washington to begin with. But, like, somebody was saying something about, I don't know if it was healthcare or whatever, and Bill de Blasio leaned over, he's like, but it doesn't work! It hasn't been working! And then he pivoted to when they were talking about, I think it was guns, and he's like, listen, I raised a black son. I know about the dangers, and I was, man, he pulled out the black son, That's his I served in Afghanistan. Bill de Blasio has his own I'm a war hero spiel, and it's, I raised a black son. And he did. And he definitely did have to worry about his son having just a statistically higher chance of being shot by police or killed in an act of gun violence than a white kid. So de Blasio, with that interrupting, I don't think he hurt himself. But he's not in this, here's my thing. I don't think he should have gotten himself in the race. 70% of New Yorkers agree with me that he shouldn't have gotten in the race. But, forget the race, forget the campaign, forget everything. If January 2021, Bill de Blasio was president, America would be fucking awesome. And there is no denying that, okay? The problem is that we can't get there. You see, New York listen. If it wasn't for Cuomo, we'd have legal weed in New York for recreational purposes for adults to responsibly use, and therefore also we can tax and regulate it. We can make sure this is all up to par, and we can tax it, and we can use those tax dollars to pay for education so people don't grow up and vote Republican. Bill de Blasio's got child care for all, 3 and up for everybody in New York. They're instituting health care for everybody in New York. Like, vax. That would be awesome. But we can't get there. So he should have sat it out. So night one, I liked Warren, I liked Castro, I liked Booker coming out of there. Top of my head right now. And I liked de Blasio's interjections there. Night 2 was more interesting. There was more fireworks. Let's talk about what we got. First night, Elizabeth Warren was in the center. This night, I believe that's Biden in the center. It was either Biden or Bernie. They were both kind of like in the center. And a couple of takeaways. I said this last week. I said Biden, they're going to swing at Biden, and Biden's going to rope-a-dope. And he was taking hits, man. So I'm watching this debate, right? And Kamala Harris is killing it because she's always killing it. Because Kamala Harris really, really should be president. Like, we need a Harris-Warren ticket. That's my dream ticket. Harris-Warren. I don't care who's the Veep. But I think Harris would serve better as leading and Warren with the plans, you know? But, like, so I'm sitting there, minding my own business. I see Eric Swalwell at the end there. The end of the, he's all the way on the end. He's wearing his orange tie, his orange ribbon, March for Our Lives, Moms Demand Action, End Gun Violence. Like, I'm with it. Enough is enough. His turn comes up. And he decides, you know what? Let's go. And he says, when I was 6 years old, I went to a Democratic convention in California. And I was 6. And there was a senator who got on stage and told us it is time to pass the torch to the next generation to lead this country. Pass the torch to the next generation. That senator was Joe Biden. Flames. A million flame emojis. It didn't get the immediate crowd reaction I thought it would. Like, as soon as he said that senator was Joe Biden, I was like, woo! But, like, everybody in the audience, they waited till he got up to the, you said that 32 years ago. It's time to pass the torch. And, yo, like, think about that, man. Swalwell was 6 when Joe Biden said it's time to pass the torch. And Joe Biden's over here holding us up. Crazy. It was such a good line. And I don't know, like, I don't know what it does for him in the polls, but the line was really good. And Joe Biden came out, I'm still holding the torch. And then Bernie was like, as someone from his generation, I just want to chime in, and I want to say this. It's just crazy. It's just insane. They asked Bernie Sanders, you know, so, how do you feel about the weather today? Well, let me tell you something. The top 1%, they've been raping America for so long, and the 1%, Bern, we get it. The 1%. We understand that wealth inequality is a thing. But sometimes, when you're asked a question, you have to answer the question. So, are you raising taxes on the middle class? Yes. Good. That's it. Fuck your 1%. Fuck your wealth inequality. Shut the fuck up. Stop pivoting to the same fucking answer every time someone asks you a question. Hey Bernie, nice day today. Oh, it's a nice day for the 1%. It's not a nice day for the bottom half of America. We're living here. Manufacturing jobs, forgotten people. Trump's a fraud. Oh, Trump's a fraud. Did you hear that, guys? Breaking news. Let me tweet it out. Trump is a fraud. Like, no shit, Sherlock. And if people want to say, listen, Bernie has the best ideas, let me break something down for you. All of his ideas, Elizabeth Warren has them now. And Elizabeth Warren is not labeled a fucking socialist, okay? So maybe electability is more on her side. Somebody that reminds you of, like, you know, your 9th grade English teacher. Oh, the 1%. Like, I hate the 1% too, man. Like, but I'm not gonna sit here and talk about it. I don't like fucking lobster either, but I don't sit here talking about it all day. We gotta get rid of lobster. There's too much lobster, not enough chicken. Some people like chicken. There's not enough chicken. Like, dude, relax. And answer a question. And like, Medicare for all, for everyone should have health care. But like, if you have money, I'm fine with you buying your own health care. Pete Buttigieg said it. He said it should be Medicare for all who want it. It's a public option. And I agree with that, because everybody should have health care. Let me tell you a little story about Jay Parks. This is a story all about how I haven't had health care since 2004. Okay? 2004! That's pre-Obama. And then Obama came in, and there was an individual mandate. And somehow I never got in trouble, and I never had to pay any fines for not having health insurance. So people say, oh, the ACA didn't do enough. The ACA was this and that. The ACA should have charged me so I would get on it. Marianne Williamson. You know the vibes. Like, Bikram yoga is like one of her policies. What? No, I don't. She seemed really, and this is the difference. I saw this in a tweet. This isn't an original thought by me. This is the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats put 20 people on stage. One of them's Marianne Williamson over there with the vibes and the crystals and stuff like that. And all of us are like, how the hell is she on stage? And when the Republicans do that, and they have Trump on stage, they say, look at this loon. We're gonna elect this guy. That's the fundamental difference. Is Democrats want to elect people that are gonna fix government. Republicans want to elect people that are gonna break government. Buttigieg had a good answer on religion. This is a thing that we've been saying on Least Coast Radio since inception. The Republicans have no right to claim religion anymore when they are committing unreligious acts. They have no bearing on holding the torch. They do not get to carry the religion torch anymore when they elected Mr. Rapey. That's it. That's just facts. And he was right about that. He's still got to do something about his police. He's still got to fire that police chief. No questions asked. He needs to fire that police chief. Somebody died. And Mayor Pete's got some problems that he needs to take it. I mean, Kamala Harris. You've all seen Kamala Harris break down Joe Biden right there. Kamala Harris said, she prefaced it with, and listen, Kamala Harris could have went into this debate, answered the questions, laid low, and not taken any chances. But she swung up. She looked up. She saw Joe Biden. Nah, man. I'm coming to get you. And she turned and now I haven't looked up like busing and the actual nuts and bolts of it. But what I'm understanding is that Joe Biden didn't want the Department of Education to have mandated busing to desegregate schools. Joe Biden claims that the city council's vote on that, and he didn't want the Department of Education to do it. But Kamala Harris, the way she broke down, and then when she was like, you were against busing, and I was on that little girl was me. And it was, damn. Hello, President Kamala Harris. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the party. And I'm glad you've arrived. And I don't know if it was Colbert or Trevor Noah. But they said that Kamala Harris is a prosecutor. And she's here to prosecute all these guys. And Trevor Noah did say this. He said, that's the thing about black women, man. Just when you think they forgot, they don't forget anything. And they will bring that shit up in your face forever. I was the second class to integrate to Berkeley, California, 20 years after Brown v. Board of Education. Not a good night for Biden. And online polls said that Bernie won. So that's how you know these polls were gamed by Russian bots and conservatives. Did I say fuck Tulsi Gabbard? I would want to say that again. Just make sure we're clear on this. Make sure we're clear on fuck Tulsi Gabbard. But listen, the moral of the story is this. Out of 20 candidates, even Marianne fucking Williamson. Like, out of these 20 candidates, all 20 of these people would be light years better for our country than where our country is now. This is irreparable damage that is going on in our country. And we need to fix it. We need to fix it fast. And we're only going to fix it fast by electing one of these Democrats. And that's it. We can't count on Mitch McConnell losing an election. We can't count on having that Senate. We need the House and the executive. We need them both. It's vital. It's important. And that's why, just, you should watch these things. Watch these debates. And I'm not saying watch for like the big blowouts and stuff like that. I mean, just listen to the way candidates explain the things they have to explain. Because these candidates are going to explain things to you. They're going to explain how they're going to do things. And when they get elected, now democracy continues because you get to hold these people accountable if they don't do these things. And if they don't do these things, then the way you hold them accountable is by not voting for them and taking them out of power. Democracy. Power is in the people. We take this power and we elect people. We give these people the power. We can take it away from them. So please, we gotta vote. You can't sit this out. 2020 Democrats. We're taking it back. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on Lee's Coast Radio.